It is Wednesday, March 12th, 2014. How are you doing today? My name is Kevin Cohen for Trevor Angone, and we got a new guest in here, by the way. We'll get to him in a second, but yes, this is the AKS podcast. Thank you so much for listening. It seems like it's been years, but calm down, ladies and gentlemen. It's been weeks since via Trevor's video.
I think it's spanned. Has it spanned since last year? Or
I don't know, but if so, happy
that long, dude.
Happy 2014,
dude.
Man.
Honestly,
that's all I can say.
God, happy 2014. That's insane. Hey, so how you been, man? It's been a long time.
I've been good. Hopefully, you've been good too. We got a lot to talk about.
Too much.
You know, we got so much to talk about that we brought in some extra help. We got some extra manpower.
We brought in a specialist.
Trev, I think they've heard way too much of my voice. Why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest right here today?
Welcoming our first guest to AKS ever live in the studio, our broadcasting partner for right here at SMC basketball team this last season, Mr. Will Pohlig. So, Will, it's really nice to have you in here, buddy. Why don't you run through and let the people know what your specialties are, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime.
I've been trying to get in here for a minute, but I'm finally happy being here with you. I'm a big baseball guy, big football guy, big basketball guy, big hockey guy, of course. Also, I'm from Philadelphia, so you may get a little Philadelphia bias from me here. Hopefully, we can talk a little about the Sixers and that number one pick. Hopefully this year.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, and it's gonna be awesome to have a Philadelphia perspective, especially on some of these things that we want to talk about first and foremost, because you know. And I know, and the world knows that no show in the world should be starting off with the Lakers. Oh. So we're not going to do that. We're starting off with NFL free agency, and we got a lot to talk about. And personally, being a guy from LA, I got no team to root for. So I'm just watching this like it's a damn reality TV show.
Right?
You know, I know you got some ties. I know you're very, very passionate about football, and I know you're from Philadelphia. So tell me. You really think Darrelle Revis is going to go to the Eagles?
I do think he's going to go to the Eagles. Either the Eagles or the Patriots. Adam Scheffler reported earlier that those are the two teams in the key running. The Broncos were in the mix too, but they just got Talib from the Patriots. That's the only thing that kind of scares me with the Eagles possibly getting Revis is Talib is no longer with New England.
Yeah.
I believe they expected to re-sign him. But let's talk about what the Broncos are doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're unreal. They just signed DeMarcus Ware, who got cut yesterday. I don't know why they would cut DeMarcus Ware. I mean, I know he had his worst season.
Jerry Jones is just a crazy guy, and I think we all just live in a world separate from Jerry Jones.
He had his worst season statistically last year, but he still played above par.
Yeah.
$30 million to go to the Broncos. And the Broncos also, as I said, they got Talib, and they got the second best safety out there in Ward. They probably saw what Seattle was able to do to them. Peyton Manning couldn't. They were bumping the receivers around, couldn't make those passes downfield. He was getting beat up on the pass rush. So it looks like they're going to go defense, and they're going for the win now philosophy, holding back on, not worrying about the salary cap 2 years from now. Let's get it paid now, and let's win with Peyton Manning is what John Elway's trying to do. So I definitely give him an A+ so far for this offseason.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it to me, it kind of seems like Denver is so scarred because they got manhandled in that Super Bowl to the point where it wasn't even entertaining to watch. And we're talking about football. It wasn't fun to watch a football game. Yep. I can't say I've ever said that before, man. NFL?
And, I mean, if you think about it, man, when was the last time we had a Super Bowl that wasn't, like, completely out of control fun, close game? I mean, we had a 5-6 year run of amazing Super Bowls, you know? We had these two amazing teams. I think everybody was thinking, oh, this is going to be, you know, it was almost too good to be true. It was like all these weird matchups in the past, you know, we got lucky, and it's like, oh, these two amazing teams, and it's like, is it still going to be awesome? And it just was too good to be true, you know?
It ended up being so bad that the NFL didn't even want to shut off the lights at halftime. It was that bad.
Well, you know what I did here? You know, marijuana is now legal in Washington and Denver. I mean, that was quite a Super Bowl for Denver.
A big Super Bowl, if you are asking me.
A big bowl.
Let me see. I just got to get this out there because I grew up watching Steve Smith, and I just can't believe he's not going to be with Carolina anymore.
Yeah.
Where do you guys think he might end up?
Man, so synonymous, Steve Smith, with Carolina, man. I mean, he raised Cam Newton, who is now a Pro Bowl quarterback. You know, he completely dominated fantasy last season. I mean, in multiple leagues, he, carried guys to the playoffs. I mean, it was huge. Man, Steve Smith right now, I mean, he's older. You know, what's the, old hat that we see with all these older players? They want to go somewhere where they can win a championship, So, I mean, I wouldn't rule out the Patriots. I probably wouldn't even rule out, the Broncos if they can't get, Decker back, So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Will?
If I had to pick a dark horse to get him, I would pick San Diego. San Diego, Philip Rivers had an amazing season last year, one of the best seasons of his career. I mean, Malcolm Floyd had a great season. Eddie Royal really stepped up, played great games. And imagine they could have a leadership and a man that can carry the ball, has great possession receiver and great speed like Steve Smith. Another team that possibly could go for him is a team up north, a team that likes to take a shot on players like that, the one and only Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
I actually really like that San Diego idea because, to your point, you had these guys like Malcolm Floyd, just guys that had big years who you didn't expect to have big years, who in no way, shape, or form should be having these big years, right?
Including Phillip.
If you just looked at them and said, hey, who is this guy in the NFL? 50% of the world would be like, I don't know.
Yeah, right?
I have no idea.
Is he still around?
So if they get a guy like Steve Smith there with Phillip Rivers, who, given shoes, you could say what you want about how he throws, but he can throw.
He has a very unorthodox throwing style, but I'll tell you, even since the draft, and I know Ben Roethlisberger has won more Super Bowls, I know Eli Manning has won more Super Bowls, but I still think in that draft class, Philip Rivers is the best quarterback from that draft class. And another player that I think has the possibility to go to San Diego, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah. MJD, man, where has he been? But you know what's crazy is that 3 years ago, we were talking about who's better, Eli or Peyton. And now Eli Manning has gone to like the scrum of the earth. I just think it's so funny. Whenever you hear Philip Rivers, you got to kind of think Eli too. Whenever you hear San Diego, to me, I just think Eli because he totally copped San Diego out.
Yeah.
I'm kidding him.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. But any more free agents you want to talk about?
Well, Kev, to wrap up this free agent talk, we know that the Pats lost Talib to the Broncos. That was a huge coup. They pulled it out of the hat, and they're just stockpiling defensive stalwarts. They got T.J. Ward, like Will was saying, Talib, DeMarcus Ware now, which happened earlier today. Now, like Will touched on the very beginning of the podcast, Revis is the, like you said, Kev, he's the sexiest option out there still. And just recently, Will came in and said that, he was rumored to maybe be going to Philly. Philly might have leapfrogged the Pats for the number one destination for his services. So, I mean, right now, I think we just have to keep our eyes. I think that's what everyone in the league is doing, is keeping their eyes on Revis to see if he's going to go Pats, if he's going to go Philly. There's a little, hearkening of, the Browns or, Oakland out there. But, none of those are my teams. One of them is the Philadelphia Eagles. Will, what do you think, acquiring Revis would do for Philly, given Cobb's, blossoming last season, having the number one running back in the entire league? I mean, how important would a player like Revis be? And would that be, or what, is that the missing key to you guys? We know you made the playoffs last year, but, winning the NFC East in, convincing fashion and making that, trail through the playoffs. How big would Revis be?
Well, first, let's talk about how awesome Nick Foles was last year.
Yeah.
27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen. But I still think he's a great quarterback and he's going to be there. But if we solidify that defense, I really don't like the Jenkins pickup. I think we could have done better. I think we could have got a better safety. But with that said, I think the Eagles saw what they could get with Revis. So that solidifies. Revis was a Pro Bowler last year. He was the second best cornerback last year next to Richard Sherman. So the sky's the limit with him. I mean, he's a shutdown corner. Only one cornerback was thrown at less, and that's Richard Sherman. It's definitely going to be an amazing year this year for the Eagles if we do get Revis.
And this isn't the first time the Eagles have gone after, supposedly Revis, right? I remember years ago they were trying to pair up Asamoah with Revis when Asamoah was, supposedly the best corner in the league.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about Asamoah.
Obviously didn't work out. But Philly, the thing I like about Philly is that they seem like a team that's trying to go out there and do things, and they have been.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other team I just want to touch real quick, which I think has done an A++ job in this offseason to get help with Megatron, getting Golden Tate in Detroit. Yeah. That is going to be huge. You have Reggie Bush, you have Matthew Stafford, and you have Megatron. Now you have another number 2 receiver who won a Super Bowl this year.
You already had Nate Washington there, right? And isn't he the guy that injured himself with the pizza? That's the pizza guy? I'm pretty sure he's not going to be around anymore.
Hold off that
anymore.
Extra cheese.
You know, exactly. So there's your NFL talk for the week. Hopefully, that's all you need because that was a lot of NFL. We usually never talk NFL on this podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, take it as you will.
I think we will hear from Will real quick.
I just want to throw one more thing out.
Yeah.
The Texans owning the number one pick this year. They're shopping for Ryan Mallett too. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
That could really mess things up with Johnny Manziel possibly staying in home.
Okay. We will talk draft either next week after. That's something I really do want to get into.
And I do believe we're going to hear from Will in just a few minutes when we start to get into lottery talk right after we forge past the giant L.A. wall that is the Kobe D'Antoni Lake Show situation that's going on right now. So.
Exactly what I was going to get into. It's like that big elephant in the room that you don't want to talk about, but God damn, it's an elephant. Yeah. It is an elephant.
Yeah, and, the first news we got, Kev, actually, they both happened today, essentially, unless we heard that Kobe was out for the season yesterday. Kobe, we had heard for a couple weeks from, different sources that, they're probably going to, rule him out, but then we got the official word either yesterday or today, and then, the other big news that we got today.
Oh, Kobe?
Yeah.
He ain't wanting D'Antoni no more.
Dude, that's crazy.
He ain't want that. But you know what's the funniest thing I saw yesterday? Was Kevin Ding. He used to be with the Orange County Register. Now he's with Bleacher Report. He had that Kobe story last night, or like 15 hours before Broussard from ESPN came out, and that's when it blew up. But Kevin Ding had that. Adrian Wojnarowski, one of the most respected basketball writers in Yahoo, he totally called out Chris Broussard for that.
That's crazy.
Totally called out ESPN. And ESPN has, over the past 10, 12 hours, they've been taking a beating. Man. Because they totally flipped this into something where Chris Broussard, the guy who is so infamously known for having sources everywhere, right? He has these sources who, tell him this, that. Nah. They're getting killed for that, and I that's something I just had to touch on. But speaking of people getting killed, Mike D'Antoni is, if he's not already dead, then he's getting killed in the slowest, most gruesome way you can. He's being put out there with one of the worst teams in the NBA. Granted, they're not as bad as Will's Philadelphia 76ers, but they're really close to that.
Why you gotta cut me deep, man?
I got because around here, what Laker fans have so been great at doing this year is picking other people that have worse situations than we do. This year, we talk about the Knicks like it's something we actually know about and have known about, but everyone's looking at the Knicks, totally clowning on them. The 76ers, if you want to defend them real quick, they do have a good plan, like you were saying, right?
Well, we did give you Nick Tweezy, all right? Okay. You did get Nick Young from us.
We got Swaggy P, and I do appreciate that because I love him. But this season, not so much. And, Trev, we haven't been here in a bit. And I know you love to go on these tangents about these Lakers, and I know you've been waiting. So I'm going to just let you go, man. Just go.
All right, let's go through the little flowchart we have going on right here. Okay, so we heard Kobe, he's not endorsing D'Antoni, which is crazy because beginning of the season, he was one of his biggest advocates. He's like, D'Antoni, bring him in, me, Nash,
Italia.
We know D'Antoni was Kobe's favorite player when he used to, be overseas in Italy watching his dad play for the Italian league. So it's crazy that Kobe would, have an about face and, just kind of jump off the D'Antoni train. You know what I've been thinking lately? Does it, because we know Kobe has been publicly supporting Pau in the press like a madman, so do you think because of that tiff between D'Antoni and Pau, maybe Kobe's just like, you know what, I'm over D'Antoni, Pau's my boy, we won 2 championships, get off his case, so I
feel like Kobe's been doing that against, I feel like it's been Kobe and Pau versus the world.
Yeah.
He's gone against Lakers front management. He's gone against his coach. But the weird thing is Kobe's unfollowed every one of his teammates on Twitter, including Pau Gasol.
Interesting.
Which is crazy. And that might be something you got to look into later, but
Yeah, no,
it's just weird.
I remember when Kobe only followed Vanessa for a minute. I actually didn't even realize that he was following his teammates, but to kind of follow them and then unfollow them, that's just kind of weird, Now, I think we've got a good grasp on, the whole Kobe D'Antoni situation. I know that, it was just rumored recently that D'Antoni might just walk after the season, and we might not have to pay him, so it shows you how bad things are getting, where D'Antoni's like, okay, I'm just out of here, guys.
Take my money.
Yeah, I don't even care.
I want to get the hell out of here.
I don't even need the money. So we've got that kind of boiling, all that's going to reduce, throughout the end of the season. But, dude, more importantly, right now, we're obviously, we're out of playoff contention. Everybody knows that, we're, like you and me were talking, Kev, we're top 5, actually bottom 5, but we say top 5 because we are in a position that we haven't been in probably over 20 years, where, we are, like Will was just saying before the podcast, we're tied for the 4th worst record in the league, which means we are right now right in that sweet spot to maybe try to steal a 1, 2, or 3 pick, get one of those lottery picks. And Kev, if we can get one of those lottery picks, there's 3 or 4 guys out there. I know you're high on a couple of them. I think we'd take any of the 4, but why don't you run through a couple of these guys and kind of tell the people out there why you think they'd be awesome for the Lakers. And then on the other side of that coin, we're right there with us at the bottom of the league right now is the Sixers, Will's boys. And so we're gonna let Will talk about which guys he thinks will make a big impression on his Sixers. But get it started, Kev. Out of those 4 big guys, why don't you let people know who they are and how big of an impact they could have with the Lake Show.
To that point, the 76ers, it's literally the prime example of how you properly tank in the NBA. I mean, Bill Simmons came out with this article, this 11 steps on how to properly tank, and he just put what the Sixers have done for the past couple of years. And if you really look at it, it's absolutely brilliant what they're trying to do, because Philadelphia is not a small market, but it's
5 market in the U.S.
Yeah, but it's not LA or New York. And I think they get that, and I think they're doing this, and I think it's a very smart thing to do. And the Lakers want to do that, but I think they're so scared to do that. Even though they're doing it, I think they're scared to just shoot the crapper in 100%, which is really frustrating because you wish they traded these guys like Chris Kaman to get worse so we could get these guys like I like. And you know what? I'm going to stop talking about the Lakers.
Tweeting on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but let's just talk about these prospects. The 2 I like are Andrew Wiggins and Dante Exum. Okay. Andrew Wiggins, because I've watched him grow throughout the year. His jump shot was so bad in the beginning of the year, but he's now starting to make more of them. He's been athletic. He is athletic, and he's going to continue to be athletic. At the very worst, I think he's going to be like a Tony Allen.
Well, yeah, did you see that 42-point game? That jump shot was looking insane,
exactly.
dude. I mean,
and he has this insane spin move where he goes to the left, and he does it every single game, guaranteed. It's like his move, and it's just awesome. But the only other reason I want Dante Exum, other than the fact that he's supposedly a top 5 guy, and he's coming up the ranks, even though I've seen barely any film on him, except what's on YouTube, because he's from Australia, is that he wants to be a Laker. He's at Laker games. He's at Staples Center. He's with Kobe's agent. He's talking to the media saying, I want to be on a team with a guy like Kobe Bryant because he could teach me how to be a proper NBA player. And you see a guy like that and you think, damn, I really want him.
Right.
If he wants me, I want him. Especially the year after Dwight kind of just, threw us around a little bit. Made us, Laker fans have so much damn pride, whether it's good for them or not. They're damn prideful of their team. And Dwight kind of took that away a little bit when he left. If you finally just seeing a guy that's saying, I want you, it just makes you want them so much more.
Absolutely.
So, other than, I know there's these guys like Jabari Parker, there's Joel Embiid. How do you guys feel about these guys?
I think Embiid, with the injury that he sustained, it's gonna drop him a little bit. I still think he's gonna be a great player.
With the recent back injury,
yeah,
right?
The recent back injury. He's been ruled out for the tournament, for the Big 12 tournament, and he probably won't be back for the NCAA tournament until Sweet 16 at the earliest. But as a Sixers fan, because we own 2 lottery picks this year from that Drew Holiday trade, Mr. UCLA.
Yes.
We traded with the Pelicans. 2 lottery picks. I want Wiggins, and I want Parker.
Jabari Parker, which I feel like he is the one guy in this draft, other than Marcus Smart, that can kind of come in and just, you could say, all right, be a starter, play, score, give me 10, 15 points a night. I feel like he's the one guy that could do that.
And with Marcus Smart, I would love to have him too. He is the Philadelphia attitude at its core. Like, he's a blue-collar player. Yeah. He's chippy. He's not afraid to get in there and get bumped and, knock people over and, put a foul out there when you need to, take a foul when you need to take one. He's a proven leader on that court.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have had a bad decision when he went after that fan, but other than that, like, if someone calls me a racial slur, I can't hold that against them. I'm probably going to do the same thing.
Yeah, and especially, I think one of the biggest things that people take away from Marcus Smart, because he did stay an extra year, is the fact that if you watch his games, he's not trying to be the first option on his team, even though he's a damn point guard for all, a point guard's supposed to be ball dominant, try to lead his team this and there. He's doing what his coach is asking him to do. And a lot of the times he's being used as a decoy. He's not getting the ball on a lot of possessions. He really wants his team to win. And that's something you can't really teach a guy, right? You can't teach a guy, hey, I want you to want to win. I want you to have a work ethic. I want you to try. Some guys, just like Marcus Smart, are just driven by that. And it's really awesome to see certain guys be that way, especially when you've been watching Kobe for all these years, right?
Yeah, it's refreshing. I mean, if you look at the last couple of drafts, we haven't had, we maybe had one, maybe two of these, like, really impressive, bigger size, like wing players. But, man, I know that, like Will was saying, my brother, he's big on Embiid, and I've heard a lot of other Laker fans like, oh, yeah, Embiid would be cool. And Embiid just recently said, hey, yeah, I'm down to go to L.A., that'd be awesome. Other than Embiid, though, he's included in that top four. But, dude, the top three for me, Parker, Wiggins, Exum, you guys talked about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I would love Parker, Jabari Parker. It'd be so nice to have somebody just run point and be able to score. He's that point guard, shooting guard combo. And like you said, Kev, after what we saw Wiggins do the other night, he finally showed us that he can pull up from the wing, hit that jump shot. And, man, from what I've seen on YouTube, my brother was showing me the clips of Exum. Man, I would be stoked with any one of those three guys. So, hey, if we can get any one of the three, if we can stay right in that number 4, worst record in the league, 4 or 5, maybe 6. I don't want to get past 6. I'd like to stay right in that 4 range. That would be money. And you know what? We have a real tough schedule in the Western Conference coming up to finish the season. So I think we could be there, brother. I think we could have a nice shot at one of these guys. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Do or die, starting with Will. Before we have to leave here, if you had to pick one guy, you have the number 1 pick. You have to pick one guy.
Parker.
Like that answer, Trev?
Exum, I've been saying Parker for weeks, but just because of the relationship with Kobe's agent, and just because he's, like, we've seen Parker play for the last couple of seasons, we have just seen some video online of Exum. I feel like he's this crazy wild card, maybe has a higher ceiling, but dude, honestly, I think, I would have to go Exum. I'd probably go Exum, Parker, Wiggins, but I would be stoked with any of them, so,
You guys knew who was the first guy on a magazine cover? Andrew Wiggins. And that's why I'm going with him, because he was on a magazine cover first, and people have told me he's good.
Well, he's young,
Yeah.
He's 18. He's going to grow into his body. I just feel like his ceiling just isn't quite as high as Parker's ceiling can be. I mean, I'm not like he's going to be an all-star.
Okay. Yeah,
he's going to be a great player.
Yeah. Who knows? They could both be all-stars, right?
They will both be all-stars. I mark my words. 3 years, they'll both be on the all-star team. They'll be playing that rookie in the rookie sophomore game. They're going to be great, but I just feel the ceiling is just a little bit higher for Parker.
Interesting. We'll talk more draft because I disagree with him. But you heard that Jabari Parker is going to be the next big thing. You've heard that Andrew Wiggins is going to be the next big thing. You've heard that Dante Exum is going to be the next big thing. I think what we can take from this conversation is that we just want one of these guys.
Yeah, we'll take any of the three.
We'll take any of them. Just if you have a pick, you need them.
It's nice being in the same boat as the Lakers for once.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we want one of the three, but to assure us one of the three, we need to get one of those lottery spots. So man, when they come down to the 6 through 4 range, and if we're not there, oh man, it's going to be celebration time. It's going to be like winning the first round or second round of the playoffs, or for the Western Conference Finals.
And final thoughts on this: expect to hear a lot of this potential talk, because guys like me, guys like Will, guys like Trev, we're going to be arguing for the next weeks, months about who has the most potential. Exactly. Who has the most potential? Who has the highest ceiling? We're going to be ready for that. So strap in, get ready for that in the upcoming weeks. This has been the AKS podcast, brought to you by Kevin Coe, Trevor Angone, and our new guest, here for the first time, and I'm sure he's going to be back. We're bringing him back if he's willing. We'll bring him back.
Big Will Pohlig, baby.
Big Will Pohlig from Philadelphia.
Can I tell you before we go? Can I tell you my
of course.
favorite story, Sixers-Lakers story?
Do it.
So you remember when you guys played, you whooped us in the NBA Finals.
I can't remember which time that was, but okay, one of the times. All right.
Yeah, well, the most recent since I've been alive.
This feels so good because
I've been alive.
I haven't done this in forever.
Allen Iverson, my fondest memory.
Yeah.
Game 1, you guys won every game throughout the playoffs that year.
Oh, yeah.
You just ran through the Western Conference, and Allen Iverson hits that 3 and steps right over Tyronn Lue. It's my fondest memory of a Sixers-Lakers game. And Allen Iverson's jersey was just retired last week in Philadelphia.
And ever since then, Tyronn Lue has been behind a bench, sitting down, just sitting there, behind Doc Rivers for the rest of his life.
But you guys beat us, so that's all I got.
Isn't that funny how you always see Ty Lue behind the first row benches? It's
he
so
has
funny.
become the guy who sits behind the bench.
Yeah, it's so funny.
He's like the poster guy for that.
It is.
But man, Allen Iverson. I gotta stop myself before we go on for another 25 minutes.
We could go for another hour.
This has been the AKS podcast. Come back next week. We'll be here waiting for you. We'll talk Lakers. We'll talk whatever happens in sports. We'll for sure talk some draft. Talk some of more stuff that happens in the NFL. And if anything happens, we got it. My name is Kevin Coe for Trevor Angone and Will Pohlig. See you next week.